People know my wife as Victoria Hale, the fearless CEO who built a rising empire before she turned 30. When they shake my hand at events, they say, "You're a lucky man." I always smile and answer, "I know." What I never say is that I was there before the spotlight, before the interviews, before the applause. "I couldn't have done this without you," she used to whisper when we worked from our tiny apartment. Back then we sat on the floor with laptops and cheap coffee. I invested my savings without hesitation. "Are you sure?" she asked the night I transferred everything into her startup account. "I believe in you," I said. "That's enough for me." I meant it. I worked beside her every night after my day job. I built pitch decks. I called investors. I planned growth strategies. "You're the brain," she would tease. "I'm just the face." "And a very scary face," I joked. We used to laugh like that. When the first investor agreed to fund her idea, she cried in my arms. "We did it," she said. "No," I thought. "You did it?" But I never corrected her. Years passed. The company grew fast. So did her confidence. So did the distance between us. At her first major board meeting, I sat quietly near the back. I watched her command the room. I felt proud. After the meeting, I stepped closer. "I think expanding this fast might stretch the team," I said gently. "Maybe slow the rollout?" She didn't look at me. "You wouldn't understand corporate politics." The words hit harder than I expected. "I built this with you," I replied. She sighed like I had embarrassed her. "This isn't our little apartment anymore." I told myself she was stressed. Success changes pressure levels, not hearts. At least that's what I believed. At home, she started taking calls during dinner. "Can this wait?" I asked one night. "No," she answered sharply. "This deal is worth more than our monthly groceries." "I'm not talking about money," I said quietly. She rubbed her forehead. "You're too emotional lately." Too emotional. I rolled that phrase in my mind for days. One evening, I planned a surprise dinner for her promotion. Candles. Her favorite food. Soft music. She walked in, glanced around, and frowned. "I don't have time for this." "It's just an hour," I said. "We haven't talked properly in weeks." She placed her phone on the table but kept checking the screen. "Love is a distraction at this level," she said. "I can't afford distractions." I felt something twist inside me. Am I a distraction? She hesitated. That silence said more than any answer. "You're my husband," she finally said. "But you need to understand priorities." I thought we were each other's priority. "That was before," she replied. "Things are different now." Different. That word followed me everywhere. In meetings, she stopped introducing me as her partner. I became my husband instead of the co-founder. One afternoon I tried again. "We need to talk about the company's direction," I said in her office. She kept typing. "Send me an email." "I'm standing right here." "Then say it quickly." I swallowed my pride. "You're pushing too hard. The team is scared of you." "They should be," she answered. "Fear keeps people sharp." "What about respect?" I asked. "Respect is earned through power." "And what about love?" She looked at me like I had asked a childish question. "Love doesn't close deals." I felt small in that office. Smaller than I ever had in my life. That night, I lay awake beside her. She scrolled through her phone, smiling at something on the screen. "Do you ever miss how we used to be?" I asked softly. She didn't look up. "People evolve. Together? If they can keep up." The words cut deep. I turned away so she wouldn't see the hurt in my eyes. I kept telling myself this was temporary. Stress. Growth. Pressure. I reminded myself of the nights we dreamed about success. "You're my home," she once told me. Now our house felt like a hotel lobby, beautiful but cold. The next morning, she adjusted her blazer in the mirror. "Big meeting today," she said. "You'll crush it," I replied automatically. She nodded. "I always do." As she walked out, I realized something I had been avoiding. I was no longer standing beside her. I was standing behind her. And for the first time, I wondered if she preferred it that way. I used to know every detail of Victoria's day. Now I learn about her life from business news. One morning, I placed breakfast in front of her. "You have time to eat, right?" She checked her phone. "Make it quick." "Victoria," I said carefully, "when was the last time we had a real conversation?" She looked annoyed. "We live together. That's conversation." "No," I replied. "That's logistics." She stood up. "I have a board call in 10 minutes. Cancel it." She froze. "Excuse me?" "Cancel one call. Choose me for once." Her eyes turned cold. "That's not how this works." How it works? Marriage? This level of success, she snapped. You don't pause momentum for emotions. I felt my chest tighten. So emotions are a weakness now? They're a liability. The word stayed with me all day. Liability. Like I was bad debt. That was when Daniel Cross entered my life. He started as her executive assistant, but he moved through the office like he owned it. Tall, polished, always smiling. The first time we met, he extended his hand. I've heard so much about you. Good things, I hope, I said. He smiled wider. Of course. But his eyes measured me. Soon his name was everywhere. Daniel handled it. Daniel stayed late. Daniel understands the market shift. One evening I called Victoria at 9 p.m. Are you coming home? I asked. Not tonight, she replied. Again? Daniel and I are finalizing projections. I swallowed the discomfort. At this hour? That's called dedication. I used to stay up with you like that. Silence. Then, yes, you used to. The past tense hurt more than I expected. Days later, I walked into her office unannounced. Daniel was sitting close to her desk, both of them leaning over her laptop. She didn't look surprised to see me. You should schedule meetings, she said. I'm your husband. And this is my workplace. Daniel stood up smoothly. I'll give you two a moment. He didn't look bothered. That confidence unsettled me. Why does he always have access to you? I asked once he left. Because he's useful. More useful than me? She exhaled sharply. This insecurity is exhausting. I'm not insecure. I'm concerned. There's no difference. I stared at her. Are you hearing yourself? Yes. I'm hearing a man who can't handle my growth. That's not fair. Isn't it? She shot back. Ever since I stepped fully into my role, you've been questioning me. I'm questioning the distance. Distance is necessary at the top. At the top of what? A throne? She didn't smile. If that's what it takes. That night I waited in the living room. Midnight passed. Then 1. At 2 I heard the door unlock. You didn't answer my messages, I said. I was busy. With Daniel? She dropped her purse on the table. Don't start. People are talking. People always talk. Are they wrong? Her eyes flashed. Careful. That's not an answer. She stepped closer. Do you trust me? I wanted to say yes. The word stuck in my throat. I trusted you with everything, I finally said. That's not what I asked. I don't know anymore. She laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. This is exactly why I say love complicates things. Complicates what? Clarity. So loving me clouds your judgment? Right now? Yes. I felt like the ground shifted beneath me. Then what are we doing? She looked tired. I'm building something bigger than us. And where do I fit? She didn't answer. The next week she missed our anniversary. I texted her at 7 p.m. dinner's ready. At 9 p.m. I called. At 11 p.m. she finally replied. Important client dinner. Don't wait up. When she came home, I was sitting at the table with 2 cold plates in front of me. You forgot, I said. She glanced at the candles and sighed. I didn't forget. I prioritized. Our marriage. A billion-dollar opportunity. I stood up slowly. You're changing. No, she said firmly. I'm evolving. And I'm what? Holding you back. If you keep acting like this, maybe? The words cut deep. The next day, I overheard 2 employees whispering at the office. Daniel practically runs the place now. And he's always with her. I walked past them like I didn't hear. That evening I tried one last time. Tell me the truth, I said when she entered our bedroom. Is there something between you and Daniel? She looked offended. You think I'd risk everything for an affair? I think you already risked everything by pushing me away. She crossed her arms. If you can't handle being married to someone powerful, just say it. I can handle power, I replied. I can't handle being erased. You're not erased. Then why do I feel invisible? She didn't answer. Instead, she picked up her phone. A message popped up. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. She turned it face down. But it was too late. I had seen enough. For the first time, doubt felt heavier than love. I told myself I wouldn't be the jealous husband who shows up unannounced. That night, I became exactly that. Victoria had texted me at 8 p.m. working late. Don't wait up. I stared at the message for a long time. Something in my chest felt wrong. Not anger. Not yet. Just a quiet alarm. I drove to her office without calling. The building was almost empty. The receptionist looked surprised. Mr. Hale? She's still upstairs. I know, I said. The elevator ride felt longer than usual. When the doors opened, I heard laughter. Not the polite kind. The relaxed kind. The kind she used to have with me. I slowed my steps as I approached her office. The door wasn't fully closed. Daniel's voice came first. He still thinks he's your partner? Victoria laughed softly. He was useful in the beginning. Useful. My heartbeat grew louder. He's too soft, she continued. I've outgrown him. The words felt like someone pressing on an open wound. Daniel said, then why keep pretending? For image, she replied calmly. A stable marriage looks good for investors. My hand trembled on the door handle. So what's the plan? Daniel asked. I'll handle it soon, she said. He won't fight me. He doesn't have the backbone. I pushed the door open. They both turned toward me. For a moment no one spoke. Am I interrupting? I asked quietly. Victoria stood up first. Her expression changed from relaxed to controlled. You should have called, she said. I heard enough without calling. Daniel adjusted his jacket. I'll step out. No, I said firmly. Stay. He hesitated, then remained by the desk. I looked at Victoria. Was I just useful? She crossed her arms. You're emotional right now. Answer me. She didn't look ashamed. That hurt more than anything. We built something together, she said carefully. But people grow at different speeds. So I'm too slow for you? You're too attached to the past. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. I invested everything into you, I said. My savings, my time, my career. And I appreciated that, she replied coolly. But this company is mine legally. I stared at her. Legally? You signed the documents. I trusted you. And I didn't force you. The room felt smaller. Was our marriage just branding? I asked. She looked away for a second. That tiny pause confirmed everything. It helped, she admitted. Daniel cleared his throat. Maybe we should discuss this privately. No, I said again. I want him to hear it. Victoria's voice hardened. Fine. Yes, having a devoted husband made me look grounded. Investors like stability. I felt my throat tighten. So what am I now? A complication. The word hit harder than liability. I laughed once, but it sounded broken. You said love was a distraction. I didn't realize I was disposable too. You're not disposable, she said. You're just not aligned with where I'm going. And where are you going? To the top. With him? Daniel stepped forward. This isn't about me. I looked at him. Then why are you always here? He met my gaze without flinching. Because I understand her vision. And I don't. Victoria spoke before he could. You don't think big enough. I thought we were building something together. We were, she said. Now I'm building something greater. At the cost of us? She didn't answer. I felt the last piece of denial fall away. So what now? I asked. She walked behind her desk and sat down like this was a board meeting. I think it's time we discuss divorce. The word echoed in my head. Just like that. It doesn't have to be messy, she continued. I'll make sure you're financially comfortable. I don't want your money. It's fair compensation. Compensation? My voice rose. I'm not an employee. You signed a prenup. I felt dizzy for a second. You never said. You never asked. Daniel looked between us but stayed silent. You planned this, I said slowly. I prepared for possibilities, she corrected. Was there ever a point where you loved me? Her face softened slightly but not enough. I cared about you, she said. That answer destroyed whatever hope I had left. I loved you, I whispered. Silence filled the room. Finally she said, love isn't enough at this level. At what level? I demanded. The level where loyalty means nothing? Don't make this dramatic. My whole life just collapsed, I said. I think drama is appropriate. She stood again. I didn't betray you. I stared at her in disbelief. You replaced me. That's not the same. It feels the same. Daniel stepped forward carefully. Maybe we should give him space. I looked at him. You think this is space? This is my marriage. Victoria's expression turned cold again. If you fight this, you'll lose. Is that a threat? It's reality. I realized then that the woman in front of me wasn't the one who cried in our apartment years ago. Sign the papers when my lawyer sends them, she said. Let's end this with dignity. Dignity. I almost laughed. I took one last look at her office. The glass walls. The city lights. The empire we once dreamed about. I hope it's worth it, I said quietly. It will be, she replied. I walked to the door then stopped. You said I don't have backbone, I said without turning around. You're about to find out how wrong you are. She didn't respond. As the elevator doors closed, I felt something break inside me. But beneath the heartbreak, something else was rising. And for the first time it wasn't love. The silence in my new apartment felt louder than any argument I ever had with Victoria. I stood in the middle of the small living room, staring at the bare walls. This is what starting over looks like, I muttered to myself. My phone buzzed. Emma. I ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. Finally I answered. What? You sound awful, my sister said immediately. Where are you? Home. That's not home. I sighed. It's fine. Stop lying to me, she snapped. I saw the news. Of course she did. Business blogs were already speculating about the amicable separation between Victoria Hale and her husband. It's handled, I said flatly. Handled? Emma repeated. She erased you. I didn't respond. Did she at least fight for you? Emma asked quietly. No, I admitted. She negotiated. Emma went silent for a moment. Then she said, I'm coming over. You don't have to. I'm not asking. An hour later she stood in my empty kitchen, arms crossed. This place is depressing, she said. Thanks. She looked at me carefully. You look worse. I'm fine. You keep saying that. She stepped closer. Did you love her? Yes. Does she love you? I hesitated. She said love isn't enough. Emma scoffed. That's not an answer. It's the only one I got. She sat down on the couch. Tell me everything. So I did. I told her about the office, about the conversation, about Daniel, about the word compensation. When I finished, she stared at me like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. And you just walked away? She asked. What was I supposed to do? Beg. You were the brain behind that company. Legally, I was the husband. Her jaw tightened. You let her put everything under her name. I trusted her. Emma shook her head. You trusted love. She trusted contracts. The truth burned. I feel stupid, I admitted. You're not stupid, she said firmly. You were loyal. Same difference. No, it's not. She leaned forward. Are you going to let this define you? I stared at the floor. I don't know who I am without her. That's the problem, she said. You made her your whole identity. I felt anger rise, but not at Emma. At myself. She said I didn't have backbone, I muttered. Emma's eyes sharpened. And do you? I didn't answer. She stood up suddenly. You used to be the most confident person I knew. You pitched ideas like you owned the world. That was before. Before what? Before I became Victoria Hale's husband. She walked to the window and looked out. Then stopped being that. Easier said than done. No, she said. It's hard. But it's simple. I laughed bitterly. That makes no sense. It means you choose who you are next. I sat down heavily. She replaced me like I was nothing. She replaced loyalty with ambition, Emma replied. That's her mistake. It doesn't feel like a mistake, I said. She's still winning. Is she? Emma asked quietly. I thought about the look in Victoria's eyes when I said she was wrong about me. There had been something there. Doubt maybe. She looked certain, I said. People who act certain are often scared, Emma replied. I rubbed my face. I gave her everything. And now you have nothing? I looked around the apartment again. I have skills, she continued. Experience, strategy, contacts. Don't pretend you're empty. Then why do I feel empty? Because your pride is hurt. She wasn't wrong. She thinks I won't fight, I said slowly. Emma crossed her arms again. So fight. I don't want revenge. Then don't call it revenge, she said. Call it rebuilding. I leaned back and stared at the ceiling. What if I fail? What if you don't? Silence filled the room. Are you going to disappear? She asked. Or are you going to remind her who helped build that empire? I felt something shift inside me. Not confidence yet, but something close. She said love is weakness, I murmured. And what do you say? I took a deep breath. I say underestimating me was hers. Emma smiled for the first time that night. There he is. I stood up slowly. I'm not done, I said. No, she agreed. You're not. For the first time since the divorce, the pain didn't feel like the end. It felt like a beginning. The next morning, I didn't wake up thinking about Victoria. I woke up thinking about strategy. That alone felt like progress. Emma was still asleep on my couch when I made coffee. I stared at my laptop for a long time before opening an old folder labeled Project Atlas. Victoria once called it unrealistic. Too risky, she had said. Stick to what works. I had listened. Now I whispered to myself, what if risky is exactly what I need? My phone buzzed. A name I hadn't seen in years. Leonard Hayes. I answered immediately. Mr. Hayes. Still calling me that? He chuckled. I heard about the divorce. News traveled fast. I'm fine, I said automatically. He laughed again. If you were fine, you wouldn't sound like that. I leaned against the counter. What did you call for? I want to know something, he said. Are you done? Done with what? With thinking. I frowned. I never stopped thinking. No, he corrected. You stopped acting. That stung, but he wasn't wrong. You always had sharper instincts than Victoria, he continued. She had presence. You had vision. Vision doesn't matter if you don't own the company, I replied. Ownership isn't only legal, he said calmly. It's mental. I hesitated. If I build something new, investors will compare it to hers. Good, he said. Let them. She has resources. And you have something she forgot. What? Hunger. I looked at the folder again. I have an idea, I admitted. I know you do, he said. The question is whether you have the courage. Emma walked into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. Who's that? Leonard Hayes, I mouthed. Her eyes widened. Send me the proposal, Leonard said. If it's strong, I'll fund the first round. My heart skipped. You haven't even seen it. I don't need to, he replied. I'm investing in you. After the call ended, Emma stared at me. Well? He wants the proposal. Then why are you standing there? I sat down quickly and opened the file. For the next 3 hours, I rewrote everything. Market analysis. Financial models. Growth plans. I felt alive in a way I hadn't in months. Emma watched me type. You look different. I feel different, I admitted. Angry? Focused. At noon I sent the proposal. Then I waited. Every minute felt heavy. What if he changes his mind? I asked. Stop spiraling, Emma said. My phone buzzed again. Leonard, impressive. Come to my office tomorrow. I exhaled sharply. Is that good? Emma asked. He didn't say no. The next day I walked into Leonard's office with my head high. He studied me carefully. You look thinner, he said. Divorce diet. He nodded. Tell me why this will work. I didn't hesitate. Because it solves a problem her company ignored. Which is? Overexpansion without stability. I'm building scalable systems first, not chasing headlines. He leaned back. And why should I trust you? Because I learned from my mistakes. Which were? Trusting blindly. Playing support instead of leading. He smiled slightly. There it is. What? Backbone. I felt a quiet strength in my chest. I won't build something that erases me again, I said. He nodded slowly. Good. I'll commit seed funding. The words didn't feel real. You're serious? I asked. Very, he replied. But understand this, if you fail, it's on you. I wouldn't have it any other way. When I left his office, the city looked different. Not smaller. Not bigger. Just possible. I called Emma immediately. We're funded. She screamed so loudly I had to pull the phone away from my ear. That evening, I sat alone in my apartment. For the first time, I didn't check Victoria's social media. I didn't wonder where she was. Instead, I opened a blank document and typed a company name. My company name. I paused and thought about something she once said. Love is a liability. I shook my head. No, I said out loud. Dependence is. This time, I wasn't building for someone else's spotlight. I was building for myself. And if she ever looked in my direction again, she wouldn't see the man she dismissed. She would see competition. 3 months after Leonard funded me, my company had a small office, 6 employees, and more pressure than I had ever felt in my life. I stood in front of my team one morning and said, we don't chase headlines. We build foundations. A young developer raised his hand. Are we competing directly with Hale Dynamics? I didn't hesitate. We're competing with bad strategy. That answer felt honest. Later that week, I interviewed candidates for marketing director. Most of them tried too hard to impress me. Then Sophia Bennett walked in. She didn't smile too much. She didn't flatter me. She sat down and said, "Why should I work for a man whose last company has his ex-wife's name on it?" I blinked. Straight to the point. "I don't waste time," she replied. "Good," I said. "Neither do I." She crossed her legs. "Are you building this to prove something to her?" I held her gaze. "No. I'm building it to prove something to myself." She studied me for a moment. "Better answer. What's your concern?" I asked. "That you're fueled by ego," she said calmly. "Ego burns fast." "And what fuels you?" I asked. "Results." I nodded. "We'll get along." She leaned forward. "One more question. If she offers to buy you out, will you sell?" "No." "Even if it makes you rich?" "I'm already rich in lessons," I said. For the first time she smiled slightly. "All right. I'm in." Sophia challenged me daily. "This rollout is too safe," she said during a strategy meeting. "Safe keeps us alive," I replied. "Safe keeps us invisible." I looked around at the team. Thoughts? One analyst spoke up. "We can push harder without overextending." Sophia nodded. "Exactly." I realized something then. She wasn't undermining me. She was strengthening the company. After the meeting I said, "You don't hold back." "Should I?" she asked. "No," I answered. "Just don't confuse confidence with arrogance." She tilted her head. "Speaking from experience?" "Yes." Business blogs started mentioning my company. "Former husband launches rival firm." I read the headlines without flinching. Then came the invitation. A corporate tech summit downtown. Victoria would be speaking. Sophia walked into my office holding the email. "You're attending." "That wasn't a question," I said. "No, it wasn't. I don't need a showdown." "It's not a showdown," she replied. "It's positioning." I exhaled slowly. "Fine." The night of the event, I adjusted my suit in the mirror. For a second, I remembered how I used to stand beside Victoria at events like this. This time I walked in alone. People whispered when they saw me. "Is that him?" "That's her ex." I kept my posture steady. Victoria stood on stage, confident as ever. "Leadership requires sacrifice," she said into the microphone. "You can't let emotions cloud your judgment." I didn't react. After her speech, the crowd shifted. Conversations filled the hall. And then she saw me. Her eyes widened slightly. I walked toward her before I could second-guess myself. "Victoria," I said calmly. She studied me from head to toe. "You look different." "I am." She glanced at Sophia, who stood beside me. "New team?" "Yes." Victoria extended her hand to Sophia. "Victoria Hale." "Sophia Bennett," she replied evenly. Victoria turned back to me. "I hear you're building something." "I am." She smiled politely. "That's brave." "Is it?" I asked. "Starting over at this level isn't easy." "I'm aware." She lowered her voice slightly. "You don't have to compete with me." "I'm not competing," I said. "I'm creating." Her jaw tightened for just a second. "Good luck," she said. "I won't need it," I replied. Sophia stepped in smoothly. "We actually secured 2 new investors this week." Victoria's eyebrow lifted. "Impressive." "We focus on sustainable growth," I added. "Not rapid expansion." Her eyes sharpened. "Careful. Playing small won't win markets." "I'm not playing small," I said quietly. "I'm playing smart." There it was. For the first time since the divorce, I saw uncertainty flicker across her face. Before she could respond, a tall older man approached her. "Victoria," he said firmly, "we need to discuss the Asia numbers." She forced a smile. "Excuse me." As she walked away, Sophia leaned closer to me. "She's under pressure." "How can you tell?" "Her shoulders are tense." "And she didn't insult you." I almost laughed. "That's growth." We stayed for another hour. I shook hands. I pitched ideas. I didn't feel like a shadow. When I finally stepped outside, the night air felt lighter. Sophia looked at me. "How do you feel?" "Like I'm not behind her anymore." "Good," she said. "Because she's starting to look behind herself." I glanced back at the building. Victoria stood near the window inside, speaking sharply into her phone. For the first time, she didn't look untouchable. She looked worried. And for the first time, I wasn't the one losing sleep. The first headline appeared on a Tuesday morning. Hale Dynamics faces internal audit over risky expansion. I read it twice before putting my phone down. Sophia walked into my office. "You've seen it?" "Yes." Are you smiling? No, I said honestly. I'm thinking. About karma? She asked. About consequences. By noon, 3 more articles followed. Investors were questioning Victoria's rapid overseas expansion. Anonymous sources mentioned internal disagreement. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared at it before answering. Hello? Silence. Then her voice. We need to talk. I leaned back in my chair. About what? Not on the phone. That sounds familiar, I said. Pause. Please. The word surprised me. Tonight, she added. My office. I hesitated. Fine. When I arrived that evening, the building felt tense. Employees avoided eye contact. Victoria stood by her desk, no smile this time. You look tired, I said before I could stop myself. I am, she replied. I noticed scattered documents across her desk. What's happening? I asked. Nothing I can't handle. That's not what the headlines say. She shot me a look. You're enjoying this. No, I said quietly. I'm not. She studied my face, maybe searching for sarcasm. There's an internal leak, she admitted. Confidential projections were shared with a competitor. I felt a cold wave move through me. Do you know who? Her jaw tightened. Yes. Before I could respond, the door opened. Daniel walked in. For a second, none of us spoke. Victoria's voice was sharp. Tell him. Daniel looked at me, then back at her. This doesn't concern him. It does, she snapped. Tell him. Daniel exhaled. I shared certain documents. My stomach dropped. You what? It was strategic, he said calmly. Victoria stepped closer to him. Strategic for who? For me. The room felt like it was spinning. You leaked internal data? I asked. Daniel shrugged slightly. Opportunities arise. I took one. Victoria's voice trembled with anger. You betrayed me. He laughed softly. Betrayed? You taught me power matters more than loyalty. The words hung heavy in the air. I watched her reaction. For once she looked stunned. You said emotions are weakness, Daniel continued. Attachment clouds judgment. You're twisting my words, she said. Am I? I stepped back, letting them face each other. You built this company with precision, Daniel added. But you built it without trust. You were my right hand, she said. No, he corrected. I was your tool. Silence. I felt a strange mix of pain and understanding. Victoria looked at me then. Say something. What do you want me to say? I asked quietly. That this is wrong, she said. It is, I replied. But not surprising. Her eyes flashed. You think I deserve this? I hesitated. I think actions have echoes. Daniel checked his watch. My lawyer advised me not to stay long. Get out, Victoria said coldly. He smiled slightly. You'll recover. You always do. When he left, the room felt heavier. Victoria sank into her chair. I trusted him, she muttered. I almost laughed, but I didn't. You trusted ambition, I said. Same way you did with me. She looked up sharply. Don't compare yourself to him. Why not? I was useful too. Her expression softened for a second. You were different. How? You loved me. And he loved power, I said. Just like you. She stood again, anger returning. Don't reduce me to that. I'm not reducing you, I replied. I'm reflecting you. She walked toward the window, staring at the city. The board is questioning my leadership, she said quietly. Charles Whitman wants a vote. On your position? Yes. For the first time I saw fear. You always said fear keeps people sharp, I reminded her. This isn't the same. It feels the same from where I stand. She turned to face me. Why are you so calm? Because I've already lost everything once. Silence stretched between us. My company is stabilizing, I added. Investors are cautious now. They're looking for alternatives. She understood what I meant. You're benefiting from this. I'm benefiting from building carefully, I said. Her voice lowered. Did you know about the leak? No, I answered firmly. I don't win that way. She studied my face again, maybe hoping to find guilt. Instead, she found distance. I misjudged you, she said softly. Yes, I replied. The admission hung there. What happens now? She asked. That depends, I said. On whether you finally understand the difference between power and respect. She didn't respond. As I walked toward the door, she called my name. I didn't think you'd survive without me. I paused but didn't turn around. Neither did I said. And for the first time, I believed that survival wasn't my final goal. Thriving was. The resignation became official on a Friday morning. Victoria Hale steps down as CEO amid investor pressure. I stared at the headline for a long time. No triumph. No celebration. Just a quiet shift in the air. My phone buzzed again. Victoria. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello. It's done, she said. I saw. They voted last night. Charles Whitman's name flashed in my mind. I thought you said you could handle it, I replied. I thought so too. Her voice sounded different. Smaller. Do you want to meet? She asked. I hesitated. Why? Because I don't want our last real conversation to be that night in my office. I closed my eyes for a second. Fine. 1 hour. We met at a quiet cafe near the river. No cameras. No assistants. No headlines. She was already sitting when I arrived. For a moment I didn't recognize her. No sharp blazer. No perfect posture. Just Victoria. You look tired, I said. She gave a weak smile. I haven't slept. I sat across from her. What do you want from me? She folded her hands. Honesty. You've never struggled with that before, I said. She let that pass. I thought power was everything, she began. Control. Growth. Expansion. I believed if I stayed ahead, nothing could hurt me. And? I asked quietly. I was wrong. The words felt heavy. I pushed you away because I was afraid, she admitted. Afraid of what? Depending on you. I frowned. Why would that scare you? Because you knew me before the title, she said. Before the applause. With you, I wasn't untouchable. I felt something shift inside me. You once told me I was your home, I said. I remember, she whispered. So what changed? I did, she replied. I started seeing love as a risk. A weakness someone could use against me. And Daniel? She looked down. He mirrored my ambition. He validated my worst instincts. And when he betrayed you? It felt like looking into a mirror that cracked. Silence settled between us. I called you that night because I didn't know who else to talk to, she said softly. You didn't need me when you were winning, I replied. I didn't think I did. And now? She met my eyes. Now I know I lost something real. I leaned back in my chair. I loved you, I said. Not your company. Not your status. You. I know, she said, her voice breaking slightly. I see that now. But seeing it now doesn't change what happened. I'm not asking you to come back, she said quickly. I just needed you to know that I understand. Understand what? That love wasn't the weakness, she answered. My pride was. The simplicity of that confession hit me harder than any argument we ever had. I used to shrink myself to stand beside you, I admitted. I thought that's what support meant. Her eyes filled with regret. I didn't notice. That's the problem, I said gently. You stopped noticing. She nodded slowly. I lost the company, she said. Investors, reputation, Daniel. Everything. You didn't lose everything, I replied. She looked at me questioningly. You still have yourself, I said. And that's more than you gave me credit for. A faint smile touched her lips. You've changed. Yes. Are you happy? I thought about my team. My office. The feeling of building something that carried my name. Yes, I said honestly. I am. She looked relieved and sad at the same time. I'm glad, she whispered. We sat there for a few seconds longer. This is where we let go, I said finally. She nodded. I won't try to hold you. I stood up. Victoria, I said softly. Yes. I don't hate you. Her eyes closed briefly. That's more kindness than I deserve. No, I replied. It's just closure. I walked out of the cafe without looking back. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was walking away from something. I felt like I was walking toward myself. 6 months later, I stood in my new office and watched my team celebrate closing our biggest contract yet. Sophia walked up beside me. You're smiling again. I forgot how that felt, I admitted. She handed me a glass of water. You built this. No, I said. We built this. She nodded approvingly. That's the difference. I looked around the room. No fear. No tension. Just focused energy. One of the developers approached me. We couldn't have done this without your leadership. I felt the old version of me wanting to deflect the praise. Instead I said, thank you. But remember, leadership isn't control. It's responsibility. He grinned. Got it? After everyone left, I stood alone by the window. My phone buzzed. A message from Emma. Proud of you. I smiled and called her. You were right. About what? She asked playfully. That I wasn't empty. She laughed. Told you. I needed to lose everything to see myself clearly. Did you lose everything? She asked. I looked around my office again. No. I just lost what wasn't meant to stay. Later that evening, I received one more message. Victoria. Congratulations. I saw the news. I stared at the screen before replying. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. A few seconds passed. I'm rebuilding, she wrote. I typed slowly. So am I. That was enough. I put my phone down and looked at the city lights outside my window. Once I stood behind her while she chased power. Now I stood on my own. I thought about the man who believed love meant giving everything without asking for respect. I don't regret loving her. But I regret losing myself. Never again, I said quietly to the empty room. Love isn't weakness. Blind devotion is. And this time I chose strength. Not to defeat her. Not to prove her wrong. But to finally become the man I should have been all along.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.